annual examination. All these prayers, please do lead the flag. All the people bring us together today safely. Please watch over us as we return home from this meeting. Please grant us wisdom and courage to make decisions that meet with your blessing. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4 on the agenda is relinquishing business. No new business. Item number 5, do I have a motion to approve the signed minutes of May 5th, 2025? Motion made and seconded, roll call, Commissioner Hudson, yes. Commissioner Calvin, Cartwright, yes. Item number 7, audit and allow purchase orders for payment. Number 6, approve blanket purchase order. Motion made and seconded, roll call, Commissioner Hudson, yes. Commissioner Calvin, Cartwright, yes. Item number 7, audit and allow purchase orders for payment. Motion made and seconded, roll call, Commissioner Hudson, yes. Commissioner Calvin, Cartwright, yes. Is there any utilities? Item number 9, board discussion possible action to award bid number 2524 signed contract canister system for the fairground. I have a letter from Carly Toon with the Osage County Clerk's Office. Says, "Dear Board of County Commissioners, based on the 2 bids submitted, I would recommend that the board accept bid Warner Audio Video. Bids are significantly different in price range, and Warner Audio Video has the better price. Warner Audio Video offers what the fairgrounds looking for is significantly lower price than VIP technology solutions. Kelly Perigo is also in agreement and recommends Warner Audio Video. Thank you, Carly. Motion made and seconded to award bid Warner Audio Video. Yes. 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 Motion made and seconded, roll call. Yes. Commissioner Calvin, Cartwright, yes. He says that. Yeah. Item number 10, board discussion possible action to open award bid number 2525 for concrete pad for the Osage Fire Department.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to open the bid. Roll call, Commissioner Hudson.
Yes.
Commissioner Talbot. Cartwright, yes. I have one bid from Alvarez Construction in the amount of $35,700. I had one bid from First Construction and Fabrication LLC in the amount of $67,069. I had one bid from Kohler Construction in the amount of $78,300. I have one bid from Embry and Osage Construction LLC in the amount of $73,235. Do I have a motion to tabulate this? Motion made and seconded. Roll call, Commissioner Hudson. Yes. Commissioner Talbot. Cartwright, yes. Item number 11, board discussion possible action to sign resolution, go out for bid for Osage County Sheriff's Office, evidence room, and emergency management storage.
I'll make my motion.
Charlotte, if we can handle these
Time?
another week, I was just found out this morning, John, some questions about this.
I'll make my motion.
Motion made. Do we have a second? Motion made, seconded, seconded for next week. Roll call, Commissioner Hudson.
Yes.
Commissioner Talbot. Cartwright, yes. Item number 12, board discussion and possible action to sign a resolution to implement shared operability CAD system for the next Gen 911 through an 80/20 grant funding from the Oklahoma 911 Management Authority. This is a grant to get 80% of the necessary equipment to fund a CAD system for I can hear you, you'll have to come up here. Sorry, you're dealing with those folks.
It's just part of the grant process that we have to go through to get the 80/20 grant. And that's where we're at on it. So as soon as we get the MOU signed back from SkyTooth, then we can move forward.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to go forward with the grant process. Roll call, Commissioner Talbot. Cartwright, yes. Item number 13, board discussion possible action, sign license agreement with Public Service Company of Oklahoma for temporary staging area at the fairground during emergency conditions.
This isn't technically a licensing agreement, it's just an agreement for them to use the fairground facilities on any kind of emergencies or anything like that. That's something standard that they do every year, in case they have a major emergency, they have the right to use our facilities. So I'll make a motion for.
Motion made, seconded, roll call, Commissioner Hudson, yes, Commissioner Calvin, Cartwright, yes. Item number 14, acknowledge letter from Health Department stating receiving agents are Dean Blankenship and Jennifer Geslin for the remainder of fiscal year due to temporary staffing. Item number 15, acknowledge letter from County Extension Office stating new requisition officers for fiscal year 2025 will be Amber Butcher and Lexi Patrick. The receiving agent for fiscal year 2025 will remain the same to the Alderman, Sarah Thomas. Item number 16, acknowledge notification transfer of lapse funds for fiscal year 24-25. One category 23-24 in the amount of $5,826. And for fiscal year 23-24, $5,824.68. Oh, 4,000, I'm sorry.
Now, the last time when they're transferred over, it's not on how these have been sitting there for quite some time, since I took office, we've been going through and reconciling accounts with the reconciliation statement, and these are monies after all the first orders and everything that has passed through business made, it's been set in these accounts, so we're lapsing forward to the current year. The first one, cash fund from highway district 1, and the second one from 23-24 is the county clerk records management and preservation. The cash fund was last year whenever everything is clear. 2023, I'm now in the wrong ones are money there, so it's clear now.
Do I have a motion to approve the transfer?
No.
Item number 17, board discussion possible action to approve and sign report for cash appropriation, $1,118,171.72. Reconciliation for the county clerk, county clerk's tax book, reconciliation for the assessor's office, and reconciliation for the election.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded, roll call, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Calvin, Cartwright, yes. Item number 18. You got it right there. Item number 18, board discussion and possible action to approve and sign a resolution for declaration of surplus property and disposable equipment from the sheriff to transfer ownership to Charlie Cartwright. One, a block serial number B606.4.76. Sheriff, do you want to explain this, or you want me to?
Go ahead. You're good.
This was a retirement gun that historically, whenever you retire from the sheriff's office, or the weapon retired with it, that paperwork was never executed correctly.
So this was one of the, we've been trying to identify, we had 27 guns unidentified at one point. I think we got to 8. And this was one of them that we discovered that was not properly handled. So
And this is where
Motion made, second, yeah. Roll call. Yes. Commissioner Cartwright. Item number 19, board discussion possible action, sign resolution, declaration of surplus property and disposable equipment to the sheriff to be donated to Osage County District 3. One, a motor skid steer, two, a cadet zero turn mower, and three, an input rate. I have a motion to approve. Make a motion to approve. Motion made, second, roll call. Commissioner Talbot.
Yes.
Cartwright, yes.
But I would like to say there, if you have any more, I'd like to get this.
before he moves in, I'll start telling him this. I might get a list for property.
Item number 20, board discussion possible action to approve and sign transfer for nutrition in the amount of $1,000 from account number 1242-352-005 M&O to insurance. Motion made, second, roll call, Commissioner Talbot. Cartwright, yes. Item number 21, board discussion possible action to sign quick claim deed in favor of current owners of easement existing southwest quarter of section 2.3 north, lane 8 east.
There anybody here on that?
It's just a, that's a road that we were given an estimate way back in the 50s, and the road is in a different spot, so we're not using it, so it's just to clear up their highway.
So we're good.
Charlie and I talked about
I was trying to talk on the phone.
But anyway.
I'll retract my motion. I'll retract my motion, take that one and make a motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve the transfer. Roll call, Commissioner Hudson. Yes. Commissioner Talbot. Cartwright, yes. Item number 22, board discussion possible action to reconvene public hearings for section line opening request from Caitlin Owens for section 34, 22 north and east, section 3, 21 north to the range in. I'd like to reconvene the public hearing, but been informed that Ms. Owens is not going to be able to be here today, and that the parties may be reaching a resolution. Take a motion to recess again for another week, and we have already kind of worked this out. I'm going to recess again. Motion made, second, call another recess for 1 week. Roll call, Commissioner Hudson, Commissioner Talbot, Commissioner Cartwright, yes. We are now in recess. Board, item number 23, board discussion and possible action to open public hearing, section line opening request from John and Kim Stowe for section 24, 23 north, 11 east, section 24, 23 north, and range 11. Motion made, second, open public hearing. Ms. Kay? Do we have, did you have an announcement you want to make?
Is there, who all here for this?
We're going to do this one.
If you want to,
Come up, announce who you are and could we have the stove side working? What was it?
Yes, I'm working at the stuff.
come up here.
Yes, absolutely. If I brought exhibits, if I may pass them out.
Okay. My name is Lauren Yeck. I'm with Northcutt Law Firm. I'm here representing John and Kim Stowe, and I appreciate you guys as the county commissioners taking the opportunity to hear our application with you. As a little background, the Stows purchased property in 2021 in Osage County. The clients love this property. The only problem is it's landlocked, which is Osage County's no stranger to this kind of thing. They're wanting to put their home on it because they love it so much, but they currently don't have access, and that's been a problem. They bought a mobile home and they're trying to get onto their property, but the manufacturer can't deliver it because they don't have access to the road. And the manufacturer is currently threatening to cancel the sale because of this issue, so it is a time is of the essence issue. So, in order to remediate the situation, the Stows filed an application to open the section line, which is Exhibit 1. This way, they will have legal access to get to the property they bought and paid for. The section line runs east and west between sections 13 and 24. And they are not requesting to open the entire section line, only a very small portion. It's about 660 feet or 0.125 miles. If you look at Exhibit 2, you will see a plat map of this area. Outlined in blue is property that says Hendershot, and that's what the Stows have purchased. And then that little pink line is the section line they're wanting to open. Exhibit 3 is a zoomed in map of this. Again, you can see the Stows property on the upper left-hand side. The Pattersons are on the north of the section line we're wanting to open, which is blue. And then Mr. Tim Penny and his son Jared and Riley Penny are on the south as well. Exhibit 4 is another map. Obviously, I'm a fan of maps. The Stowe's property is outlined in dark blue, and then that little pink line is the proposed section line. The little yellow line is the proposed section line. The long pink line is a road that runs from Javine to the Stowe's property. That is already opened. It was opened in 1977, and that resolution is Exhibit 4B. The turquoise line runs north and south. That's another open section line. It was open in 2003. That's Exhibit 4A. So as you can see from this map, this area is no stranger to open section lines. 4 lines coming out of that 4-corner point where the sections meet, or 2 out of the 4 are already open. We're just asking to open the 3rd. Currently, the Stowe's would have pretty direct access to their property. You can see Javine Road on Exhibit 4. It runs north and south on the east, the right side of this picture. And then they can drive down that open section line, the pink line, and then they're stopped short where that yellow line hits. So they can almost get right to their property, but they fall short 660 feet, 0.125 miles. Exhibit 5 is a survey of this property. You can see Javine on the right, and then PR 2164 is the open section line, the pink line from Exhibit 4. And then right in the center is where the section line would start. Again, from the survey, it's 656.59 feet. It is a very small portion of the road we are asking to open, just so that they can get to their property. Now, obviously I wouldn't be here if we hadn't already tried to reach an agreement with the neighbors. We have the Pattersons on the north of this, and they have no objection to this, and they've signed an affidavit stating the same. We have the Pennies on the south. We've tried to reach an agreement. We have not been able to reach an agreement in this time, and we've been told that they're not interested in an agreement. The Stowe's have done work to the property we are trying to open. In the past, they have been allowed to drive on this road, and so they have paid for gravel and culverts on this road. If you look at Exhibit 6, you can see pictures of what this section line looks like that we're trying to open. On the left side, the left picture, that's the Penny's Gate, and then on the top of it, you can see that's the Penny's Cattle Guard. On the top, you can see the little gate, and that's the Stowe's Gate. So this road that we're proposing to open, it already exists. It's a graveled road. We're not going to be taking grazing land away from anyone. And the Stowe's have helped pay for some of this gravel. The center picture, where the car is, that's that 4 corners point of the 4 sections. And then so you can see we're looking west in the picture. And you can see there's an H brace that Mr. Penny put up blocking access to the road. Same thing on the upper right-hand picture. And then the lower right-hand picture is we're looking east back towards that open section line road, the pink line that comes from Javine. Exhibit 6A is a zoomed-in picture. The whisker, that little orange thing at the bottom of the picture, again, that's that 4 corners point where this proposed section line would begin. And we're looking west towards the Stowe's property. And so you can see that H brace was erected right in the middle of it, it blocks the entrance to it. As I said, the Stowe's have put in money already into the road they're proposing to open. 6B is the itemization of the money the Stowe's have already paid in order to fix this up. They paid for gravel on the road, they paid for culverts on the road, and then some asphalt millings that started at Javine and is on that open section line, and then they paid a company called Anchor Stone to put gravel as well. 6D is just another invoice from Mr. Penny. He actually dumped some of this gravel, and the Stowe's paid for a part of it. So today we are here asking that you guys, as the county commissioners, open this road. and you guys have the legal authority to do so. And that's Exhibits 7 and 8 are the statutes that allow you guys to open this section road. The law states in Oklahoma, a section line road shall be 2 rods in width, which is 33 feet. And that's Exhibit 9 and 10 have those laws in there. And we have mailed notice to all the required parties, as has Ms. Talbert with the county clerk's office. And that's Exhibits 11 through 15 if you want to read them. So, today we are here asking that you guys open this section line. The law states that Oklahoma public policy disfavors landlocked property. And of course, we could go to the court and fight about this, but that could take years. And both parties are going to spend endless amounts of money on attorneys. The Stows bought this property 4 years ago. They have a mobile home ready to go and be placed on the property, and the manufacturer is demanding they get there. The bank is also having issues with their loan because they did not realize that this access issue was a problem. And so they've also had issues with the bank because of this. So instead of going to court, fighting for years, and both parties paying their attorneys lots of money, we're asking you guys as the county commissioners to open this, again, 0.125 mile section line of land so that the Stows can have legal access to their property. It is a very small portion they need opened. It is already opened on 2 other sides of the Four Corners point. And the Stows have paid for improvements to this road. They've paid for gravel and culverts to be inserted. They would just like to be able to use the road they've helped pay for. Again, we're asking that you guys, as the Osage County Commissioners, open this section line. Thank you.
Do we have anybody opposed to this?
Yes, I believe we do.
Mr. Kenny?
They want to go before me.
If you lay out the case and anybody wants to speak against it, and either just tell them you're against it, or you can go ahead and say something.
We'll let him go and.
Would you come up here, Mr. Nick?
I've got a timeline right there on the front left. I think I labeled it page 1. And I started out with some history on the land with Mr. Burt. He bought it in 1976. He bought it from L.C. Long and Geraldine Brummett, who at that time came in through Pony Crossing and Shepherd's Fold Ranch. That's how they got there. And if you look at this map, the green represents everywhere they can get in. And I've missed several of those spots. And then I attached the resolution of 1977 opening the section line. Yeah, the green is all access points. Yes. No, and I'm going to show easements here before we leave. They opened the section line in 1977. Nothing was done to it because the Burts also bought the southeast quarter next to them over there from McFeetridge. McFeetridge are, if you see red lines, McFeetridge put those easements in place. The only thing I was missing was you see County Road 2275 over to your left. And I agree with her. It's 660 feet from my place to their land now. It's 530 feet from their place to this county road. So it's closer on the west side. A guy by the name of Jerry Reed bought his place from the McFeetridges also in 1999. He already has the fence moved over 33 foot. And he told me, he said, when I bought this land, they told me that was an easement. That's why my fence is over there. It's been used. I've been through there Well, since 1984, that road's always been there. It's been used. There's gates in there. William Castleberry, he's got an easement there that he uses. He's been using it for probably 10 years at least. And the Burts, they hired, after they opened the section line, they hired Jack Pantier and Jack Jones. Jack worked for the county, and he built a road plumb through to my place. That's why this road looks so visible now. I was told when opened the section line, I went to the Burts, who owned the Stowe's property now, and they refused to help. And they weren't mean about it. They just said, we already have access to our property. We don't want to spend that kind of money. That's why we bought the property over here on the west side. So I was left alone to build a road. And it's a lot of money. I mean, it's just as rough as you can get. I think probably 80 grand back in the 25, 30 years ago. And another point of interest, if you look, you'll see that the 1977, the resolution was opened. It sat idle till 1989 when I built the road. This whole time, the Burts were coming in from the west side through this easement, through the easement I just described. And in 1989, I went to church with Jim Burt Sr., and he asked me if he could drive through my place, plumb through his property, and I told him I didn't care. I never seen him do it, and the whole time I've never seen a Burt out there. When I started seeing people was when the Stows and Hendershots and the Rusted Truck companies bought it in the last 10 years. And John Stowe had me do some work for him, which is correct. I've got an invoice here for $5,700. I don't know about these others he's showing. I've got it printed off. But I did some work for him, and he was wanting to move the whole section line over. And I said, this section line is not open. I told him then it was not open. And he seemed to insist that if it's a section line, it can be open. So that's kind of where we had our issues. And if you look on the right side, underneath the map, you'll see text messages from John Stowe to me, or between each other. There, 9/11/24 is when this was done, or when these were said. And basically, he's telling me he's honored me by driving over my broken cattle guard and opening his gate to keep my horses in. He doesn't feel like he should have to open and shut his gate, which is between me and him, to keep our horses in. It's not his responsibility to do that. If I was your neighbor, he's on to say, if I was your neighbor when you built the road, I'd have helped you. And he goes on saying he's sorry to upset me. I wasn't upset, really wasn't. It's just that every time he calls me, he's wanting money. That's what started this whole text message. He called me wanting money for gravel. And I said, I've already got about 80 grand in the road. I don't feel like I should pay anymore. It's time for somebody else to catch up. And when he mentioned the broken cattle guard and not wanting to keep my horses, shut his gate, that's when I erected the post she has in the road. I was going to put the fence where it should be so I could keep my livestock in. That's why it's there. But they've never been denied access. They drive right around and keep going in. If you look onto the back there, you'll see a picture of a septic tank truck coming in just last week. And it seems like he doesn't want to quit, but he feels like the more he can do over there, the better his chances are of getting in. So he keeps doing more and more and more without an easement. I think the Buffalo people into wanting to open an easement. That's why I took the picture of the septic truck. And if you look a little farther on the right side, you'll see a gate open. It was open for about 3 hours. That's part of the problem with the easement. And if you look below that, on April the 11th, you'll see, I think it's Josiah on a four-wheeler on my side of the fence, probably a quarter mile into me, which I think they're just trying to poke the bear and make me mad. And so far I've refused to do that. And then last but not least, and I'm leaving a lot of stuff out. I left I don't think we need to see all of it. I don't think it's that important, but here's the history of the land. It shows, that land came from Mary Roach. They sold it to L.C. Long, and then L.C. Long sold it to Mr. Burt, and Mr. Burt's had it for years, probably 50. Like I said, they've always used the west side. And then Brian Hendershot from Rusted Truck came to me, and I put in my timeline that nobody ever asked. He did. I was wrong. Before him, it was Pete Curtis that owned Simmons Homes. He said, if I asphalt that road, will that make us even? And I said, yeah. And then he ended up not buying it and bought some land down the road, and Brian Hendershot, his friend, ended up buying it. And it was the same deal. And he had me go in there and start clearing stuff, and that's when this road started looking like something was there. Well, then he said he backed out because of snakes. He got to seeing rattlesnakes and copperheads, and his wife was done. And anyway, that's what this paper's for. Show you a brief history. It shows they got their mortgage from RCB Bank. I called RCB Bank over the easement, and they're supposed to be getting back with me. I'm working for a federal bank auditor, ex-federal bank auditor right now, and he said there's no way they made mortgages without an easement. He said it's just impossible. And if they did, that's what title insurance is for. And on your right side in the very back, you'll see one folded over halfway. And if you open it up, it is an easement. Trying to put all the dots together, I knew the McFeeters just had to put an easement in there. And this is a pretty good one. They've dedicated from the cattle guard on 2275 in question, that 500-foot strip to get to their property. They dedicated it to the county. It's a dedication easement. And it's for the purpose of land they've sold in the past and people getting to it. All of these easements are in use except the one to the west of the cattle guard now. So the one that's open, and he said he sits back, is there. And Reed told me, he said when I bought the land, they told me it was there. He didn't know about this easement, and it was hard for me to find. I spent several days up there looking, but it is there. And I think this is and also I don't want to leave this out. This is when it started getting real serious. I got a letter from their lawyer saying they was gonna sue us for putting up them fence posts because it obstructed their way in, which it didn't. They drove right around them. And when I go to getting sued, then I go to getting a little more serious about stuff. And they listed a Burkhart versus Jacob, which I've looked into that. It's nothing comparable to what we're doing here. That was a section line was open. Everybody was using it. Everybody was happy. One group wanted to do gravel and sand and put in a money-making deal there, and the other ones tried to stop them, and they couldn't. So, I mean, that's basically what this lawsuit was over. And then about a week later, they sent a letter to my lawyer, Drummond Law Firm, also saying that they was coming after me for damages for keeping them from getting to their property. So that's why we're up here today. There's just closer easements. I mean, I think the problem is they probably know these easements are there. If I can find them, a lawyer can. I think it's more of a convenience easement is what they were wanting. I was out probably 2 months ago working at a ranch, and they were building a fence on a section line, and one landowner was mad at the other, and he wouldn't let him come through him. So they had to drive around 17 miles to get to this fence. And I was sitting there thinking, if they could come up here and open the section line, they could have been there in 1,000 feet. But they can't because this guy owns his property. And I thought, if they went to doing convenience easements to get to places like that, Osage County would be like Yellowstone on TV. So I mean, that's just my opinion. It's just, that's the way I view this. I think they know the easements are there and they're just trying to get around them. But I don't know, and if that's not enough, I talked to Jerry Reed, and Jerry Reed was willing to give me an easement. He said, I'll find you an easement. I said, I'll pay you for your time. I did tell him that, because I feel bad going to him and having to find an easement for them. He said, I've never told them they can't go through there. He said, I've also told them they could have an electric line easement coming through there. And he texted me last night wanting to sign an easement this morning. And I said, I don't think there's any need for that. I think this easement here will cover it. But that's kind of about all I got to say.
If I may, but do you want to let them go first? It's up to you.
Is there anyone else that wants to speak again?
I'll just real brief. My brother and I own whatever it's doing. That long pink line that's the way you're talking about,
Excuse me? Oh, my name's Donnie Landis, and we've lived there for my whole life. We actually moved to the property where I live right now in 1974, I think, or 75, 74. Anyway, the long pink line that the lady talked about from J Vine, that's across our property. And we did not want it across there back in the 70s. My mom and dad were told by the then county commissioners that we didn't have any choice, and we didn't have an option for a meeting like this. And so that thing has been the bane of our existence ever since then. Since that time, I've actually purchased property our property was on the south side. My brother and I own it now. No, excuse me, on the north side. And since then, I bought about a quarter of a mile on the south side of that. So that easement through there is half of it is on our property, and then the pennies own the other quarter of a mile of that long pink line. And so again, there's too much traffic already up and down through there. There's dust and we've lost haven't lost any cows or dogs, but we've lost chickens and cats and stuff. People drive in there all the time that we don't know, that don't have any right in there. When my dad was still alive, he had a flock of bronze turkeys, and somebody drove right down that road and shot 2 or 3 of them, jumped out, got them, and run off with them. And so again, that easement that's down through there is just it's a blind spot for people who have no business in there can access that. There was a lady walked up the road today that I have no idea where she came from, and it's a definite negative for us. Also, that easement, the long pink line goes down a real steep draw into and then comes back up the other side. It's very steep. I got pictures on my phone. I wasn't really prepared to come up here. I just knew that didn't find out I needed to come up here until the end of last week. But that road is a 1-lane road right in the bottom of that, and it's very steep down and very steep up. And people that come in and out of there, they stop at the top of each hill. If you add more traffic to that, there's going to be somebody end up at the bottom of that, and right where it's real narrow and it falls off on each side, it's about a 20-foot drop down into a hole of water on the north side and brush and rocks on the south side. And it's already been hogged. That's more than a 33-foot has been hogged up across our property already, and you'd have to hog up a bunch more in order to make that a 2-lane where 2 people could pass. And although the young lady, the lawyer, said that they were just trying to move a mobile home in there, what I've heard, just hearsay, can't prove it, is that the goal is to put 6 houses and a wedding venue in there. And so you end up with a bunch of people going in and out that don't know that, and then you're asking for accidents. Next thing they want you to do is they want the county to start maintaining it. And I don't think you guys are up for that. So anyway, it'll be, if it's a convenience for them, it's not landlocked. That lady said it was landlocked. It's not. They have access to from the west. No reason for them to be going up and down through there and adding traffic and annoyance to me and my family, along with the communities. Thank you very much for your time.
Let's say one more thing before I kind of left this out, but they're saying that the draw they've got across to get from one side to the other is kind of rough. The draw coming into that place is rough. But I built a pond for the old Kahika Ranch, Liberty Bell Ranch, right outside of town here. The dam is 1,300 foot long with 57 foot of fill. If you can pay $1 million for a piece of land, you can spend a couple $100,000 on a pond that would double the value of your land to get in and out there. So, I mean, it's not impossible. That's not an impossible thing. I mean, you can drive it today in a truck. I haven't been over there. This rain might have messed it up, but you can travel that. I've seen it traveled many times. For the last 40 years, I've seen it traveled. So I just want to put that in there. It's not an impossible. When Pete Curtis was going to buy it, he was going to put the pond there. Brian Hendershot was going to put the pond there, but they all backed out for different reasons and went elsewhere. And Pete went on down the road and put a pond in a big canyon bigger than that one. And just for the reasons of getting one side to the other.
pink and the gentleman in the orange. So they're talking about the west side and east side of Stowe's property. We're trying to gain access on the east side. It is partial convenience. The west side is a floodplain, there's a big ravine there, it would be a nightmare. But they're saying we have easements on the west side and that we're not landlocked, and that is not true. The resolution he brought, that's the resolution I had in 7B or 4B. It's on the guy in the orange property. It's a resolution to open that pink line, so that does not get us there. That still leaves us 660 feet short. On the west side, the easement that he says is there, his attorney's already sent me, because I believe he sent it to his attorney saying this is an easement, and I explained to his attorney, this is not an easement, this was a contract for deed where they reserved certain portions of the land for access, and those portions of the land they reserved still do not get us to our property, they don't touch our property. So if we're denied today, we're just gonna have to go ask for an easement on the, or an open section line on the west side, because we don't have an easement. The maps of all the roads, those are oil and gas roads, we can't use those, we could, if we could just ride down any oil and gas road we wanted. So, they keep saying we're not landlocked, we are landlocked, and I've explained this to their attorney, and she seemed like she understood. She's not here today, so I don't know. But there are no easements on the west side, there are no easements on the east side. The easiest route is on the east side, and so today we're asking that you guys open that section line so that we're not landlocked.
I don't think she's seen it. My lawyer's changed her mind when she's seen this. That should be in the back of your book on the right side and very back.
She sent it to me, and then I sent it.
No, she's not, you're looking at the wrong one. It's this one.
I've looked at them both.
No, this one should be in the back of your book. If not, I'll get you a copy.
We've mentioned the title insurance, they're saying we're landlocked. They don't know how this issue came up, sometimes people just miss stuff in surveys, so that's why we're here today. No one except Mr. Penny has thought that we're landlocked.
Well, the question that I have is, if you borrow money to purchase this property, and you did, correct? Yes, sir. What were the situation on the access? They don't own money off of the land. What were the access point that they approved the loan?
May I answer that question? So the original listing, Kim Stowe, the original listing is still online by the selling agent, showed a picture of the property, the price, and it said there is an easement road to the property on the east side. It's still up, I screenshotted it the other day. So we knew there was an easement. When we went to closing, I asked them to give me a list of everything, all the access points on the property, and they provided that to us. I don't intend to be a lawyer, but I asked them, do I have all the access I need? And I asked them in front of my neighbor, and they said yes. We have since found out that apparently there was not a title opinion done on our property when the title insurance was issued. No one could provide that title opinion. And the closing company title told us that we met all the legal requirements from them because section lines have legal access. They don't have to guarantee physical access to the property. So, I'm not a lawyer, I don't want to make a claim in any way, shape, or form, but, the listing agent told us that we had the easement, the sellers reported we had an easement, the title company told us that we had the rights that we needed to our property, and until just when we started this process, were we ever aware that having a legal right down a section line where a road is in existence could mean anything else? Did I say that makes sense? We drove to the property every time we looked at it on this particular road that we were told was an easement. So,
And obviously, we'll eliminate that stuff that I've said you should drop.
Sure.
That's why we're in this mess.
Sure, and I'll add to that, we talked to RCB Bank, and the president who was at the branch is no longer there for whatever reason. And they're trying to clean up a lot of things, and our property loan was one of those that they're trying to clean up because there is a landlocked issue. And so they don't understand how that got through and processed and approved. It shouldn't have here. And then they also informed us that if our only access is on the west side of the property, we would never qualify for a 30-year loan because it will not allow the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac loans to go through a property through a floodplain if that's your only access. So it really devalues the property to not have access on the right.
But you do have access, just devalue your property.
No, he's saying
That's what you just said.
No, we don't have access to either one. On the right hand.
Can I give her this copy?
My question, Mr. King, is, where was the previous owner access?
They like access on the west side for over 40-some years.
Did they use the property?
No, I never seen them over there. No, sir.
And that would have just been an agreement they had. There is no easement.
But can I give her this easement here? I don't think she's seen it. My lawyer wouldn't. She didn't send this to you. Because we had an engineer and a surveyor looking at it to make sure it's good.
Yes, they do.
I'll say if you look on Google Maps, you'll see that the road goes from J-Line to the west gate. Since
I did, I went to Google Maps, and there is a road that goes, drive, goes up around, and up around the
correct.
washout part that goes all the way over to the house.
That's an old oil well road. We understand that there's actually oil wells on our property from 1918. And so that was coming through that area for a long time to get access to those oil wells. Those oil wells are not in use anymore. They're not producing.
Google Maps goes from that west side all the way to the house. You can see the defined road all the way to the house.
It's undeveloped now. It's deteriorated. I don't know if it was a road or not. It's probably an oil well access of some sort.
my concern that I'd just like to bring up here as a landowner and as a mother is when it rained, the first day that it rained, the beginning of the last rain session, we had several feet of water that would have had to been crossed, and by the morning, so that day, we had 6 feet of water. And I think that's being talked about, we have access through the creek, we have 6 feet of water in the matter of a day.
That's gonna require us to get, Corps of Engineers involved and FEMA to build a road through a floodplain, on that, so it's really not practical and feasible.
Ma'am, do you have anything on that?
I still don't see the easement. You're right, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's a dedication deed. They dedicated that to the county for easements for the people they sold land to.
For the highway, there is a highway running through here, but that doesn't touch our property.
Yeah, it's touching the property. That easement goes around the property.
We don't own that. We don't own that. That's the
Is
county.
there anybody else that has anything on that?
Like I told you, the road's real narrow and one lane through the DPO building. She's worried about that floodplain or whatever. We had a lot of rain last week, and there's water ran down the middle of the road, but it didn't run that around that. So those are very done. I don't know about that. So I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been in there, but I can see how to have some runoff problem in my life.
We can get one, we can get flash drains, I mean, we've got holes that are walking out all of it, so I can get flash drains, there's gonna be a lot of water through that area, why not anywhere.
Right, and it's a lot of water. I mean, there's a big drain. Again, it's narrower, but they're very nice.
Is there anybody else?
One question, when you make a loan on your property or RCB, is there any reason why they didn't give you a hydro opinion on this? Was it their existence, or how did you get it?
We paid for one, they just did, the title company didn't do one. So we're puzzled about that as well, and That's a contention that we have with the title company.
And your lender went ahead and approved the
The lender went ahead and, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Even though the landlord.
Anybody else have anything?
I would like to add one thing. He's right about it. That they bought their land for, I think, around 3,000 acres, just guessing. If they get to come in from the east side, that stuff over there is appraising for 10 to 13,000 an acre. That's why that land's always so cheap. I mean, right before that, it's sold, it's almost tripled in money from the last person they bought. I think 497,000 is what's on the mortgage on deed there. But I mean, yeah, if they get over there, they're going to make a huge gain. I think there's a reason that land was always cheap.
If there's no one else, I'll make a motion to go out of executive session.
I'll second that. Motion made, seconded, come out of public hearing, roll call. Yes. Commissioner Stout. Cartwright, yes.
And I'll make a motion to deny the request, based on there maybe, but there has been access in the past on the other side, so it's not completely landlocked. In my opinion, so
Motion made, second. One abstention, I'll second it. Roll call. Abstention is no. Commissioner Hudson, or Commissioner Stout.
yes.
Cartwright, yes. Like close, we've already passed. Thank you. Thank you all. Is there any citizens input? No citizens input? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion made, second, roll call.
How you been doing?
Staying out of trouble?
Yeah, I'm in trouble. We'll get into it.